Imagine you're an elementary teacher in a staff meeting. The heavy topic being discussed is the idea of having grades and not having grades, and if assigning homework is beneficial. You are asked to provide input on what you think. What do you say? Well, let me help you out. Grades are arguably seen as something positive and negative throughout a child's educational life. When you look at grades through the eyes of the perspective of Alfie Kohn, he notes that a student doesn't complete the assignment to learn anything. They complete the assignment for the grade. Thus, grades tend to diminish students' interest in whatever they're learning. Students are looking toward the end goal of completing an assignment for the grade and not for the learning and the important and educational content that they are supposed to be learning and being taught while completing the assignment. I mean, who can be guilty of that? I have. I was in the 5th grade. I learned how to do a book report on a biography. I chose Albert Einstein. All I cared about was presenting and answering the questions that were asked of me that I needed to do to get an A on that book report. However, I failed to observe other information that was presented in the book. During my book report presentation, the teacher asked me the question about concentration camps in Germany. My response was not the right one. I completed the task and the assignment for the grade and not for learning the new information and knowledge that I could have gained by actually reading up on the information and reading more in depth on what concentration camps in Germany actually were. Therefore, I would have gained a lot more knowledge and gained a lot more out of doing that book report than just doing it for the grade. As for this, I was guilty of one point Kohn makes. Grades tend to reduce the quality of students' thinking, meaning they skim books for what they need to know and less likely to wonder and develop questions such as, how can we be sure this is true? One may argue that we need grades to help determine where students are at in areas and where they're struggling in, or if they're improving. This is a way to measure their academic accomplishment. There are other ways to do it. Although grades are needed right now for higher education and scholarships, at an elementary level, staff and schools should decide what assignments are important to grade, what tests are important to grade, and what assignments and tests and quizzes don't necessarily need a grade associated with, but just to see where students are at. You don't need to associate a grade to determine where a student is at. Now let's talk about homework. Homework, according to Alfie Kohn, there are no benefits or positives to homework. The reason is that it has negative effects on the student's health and motivation. When it comes to completing a homework assignment, the student ends up frustrated and exhausted, and with that comes a lack of time to complete other activities, and the interest in learning diminishes. So, when given a homework assignment as a teacher, the student is so focused on doing that homework assignment that they have less time to do activities that they enjoy, or going out and playing with friends, or doing other extracurricular activities. And then, to actually learn from doing the homework assignment, that just diminishes, because the student is only focused on getting it done as fast as they can without really learning anything, so that they can go outside and have fun with their friends. It could be argued and said that homework actually helps improve in-class test scores, but there's no correlation of this to measure that type of achievement. If we were to assign homework, it would be extra practice, and it should be optional, no longer than 1 to 2 pages. And this would not be assigned every night. But the question you have to ask yourself, is assigning homework actually going to help students, or is it just going to cause more stress? So, as a future educator, grades to me are still important, but in my classroom, only big projects and quizzes and tests will count towards a grade. To gain the needed extra points that they need to boost their grade, some assignments that I do assign will count towards that. and assign a few extra points here and there so students can help bump up their grade, and it's not just solely based on projects, quizzes, or tests. And not all of them will be graded either, but the ones that are important, like final exams or end of the unit exams, those will be. Now with homework in my classroom, if it's assigned, as if students are assigned homework in class to finish, and they do not finish, then it becomes homework. So if I assign an assignment in class, and a student does not finish within the in-class time, then it does become homework. But there will be no extra outside homework assigned to my students. And if there is, for example, a book report, there will be in-class time to work on it. And there will be in-class time given for the students to complete that within class so they don't have to take it home. The goal is for students to learn and gain more knowledge in what they are learning in school. A goal I set as a future educator, and that I will set for my classroom, is I want to teach students to at least take one thing away they learned throughout the year. And that is an achievement that can be measured.